casting gold alloys. Now, these have gold along with other constituents like silver, copper, platinum, palladium, zinc, and indium. Now, in first place, why do you need to have cast gold alloys? Explained, pure gold is a very soft material. It cannot work into the stress-bearing areas at all. So, if we want to use the advantages of the gold, what are the advantages of the gold here? Gold has advantage of excellent resistance to tarnish and corrosion, excellent biocompatibility, and cohesion. But the problem is its mechanical behavior. The hardness is very low, the mechanical properties are poor. So to enhance the mechanical performance of the gold, these are the metals which are added into the gold to fabricate cast gold alloys. So we are here studying cast gold alloys today. So what metals are added are silver, copper, platinum, palladium, zinc, and indium. For at second year level, you are at the most supposed to know the names and primary role of each of the constituent. If at all you really want to study, you may know the exact percentages and the role played by each of them. I will just epitomize, or in short I'll describe the role of each constituent of all the metals into cast gold. Silver. Silver, like gold, is also a highly ductile metal. So you see a lot of ornaments. I have put one representation ornament here. You see all the ornaments made of silver because it's highly ductile, can be substituted to a limited extent for gold without causing any appreciable deterioration in the mechanical properties. Mechanical properties are not deteriorated because it's almost similar to the gold. It neutralizes reddish color imparted by copper. As I have listed earlier, that the copper is added into cast gold alloys. Copper is a must to enhance strength of the gold. But when you add copper, copper will impart a reddish color to the alloy, which will look more copperish than golden. So once silver is added, silver will neutralize the reddish color of copper, which it imparts due to addition. So it neutralizes the reddish color of the copper and retains the golden beautiful look of the original gold. But the only problem is silver, though it's categorized as a noble metal, it very rapidly corrodes in the oral cavity. So silver is supposed to reduce the corrosion resistance of the alloy. And secondly, during the manufacturing process, it can have some affinity towards gases, and it may give you small bits of porosities. Silver is added to the extent from 9% to 12% into cast gold alloys, type 1 to type 4. Next constituent added commonly is copper. Primarily, copper is added for strength and its hardness. Addition of as little as 4% of copper to the pure gold increases its hardness by nearly 80%. So imagine just 4% of copper gives you strength increase more than 80%. It also helps in heat treatment of the alloy and regulates the melting temperature. It increases ductility, imparts reddish color to the alloy, and another disadvantage of addition of copper is its tarnish and corrosion resistance. All of you must have seen the utensils made up of copper always gather surface layer of a greenish or grayish or blackish color of cupric oxide or copper oxide, which normally people wash it off with the help of, clean it off with the help of lemon or some other acidic substance. So tarnish and corrosion resistance is lowered once we add the copper to the constituent. So that limits the addition of copper to the alloys. Copper is usually added to the extent of 4% to 15%, depending on how hard you want that cast gold alloy to be. If you want a softer cast gold alloy, less amount of copper. If you want hard gold alloy, you add up to 15% of copper. Platinum. All of us know platinum is a white metal, costlier than gold. It's bluish white in color, and it's an effective hardener for the gold alloys. Apart from the copper, platinum adds to hardness of the alloy. Increases tarnish and corrosion resistance because it's a noble metal, again, does not get tarnish or corrosion. So it increases tarnish and corrosion of the alloy, and it further whitens the alloy. Usually the percentage of platinum should not exceed 3 to 4% of the alloy because of the casting procedure, solidification, temperature. Usually it is added up to 1 to 2%. A substitute for platinum is palladium. As all of us know that platinum is extremely costly, palladium is the second alternative which is commonly used. It increases hardness and tensile strength of the cast gold alloy, and it whitens the alloy more effectively than even platinum. Palladium is having low cost as compared to platinum, and what we call it as in our slang, Bollywood slang, is garibon ka platinum, palladium. So it's a lesser cost, is a cheaper option, and whitens the alloy very effectively. But it may cause internal porosities in the final casting. So again, its limited use is always better. So depending on the type of alloy, 2.5 to 4.3% is the percentage in which this type of palladium alloy is added. Zinc is added. All of us know from the topic of amalgam, you must have read, zinc has a scavenging action. 0.5 to 2% of zinc is usually added to cast gold alloys. Indium, crane refiner, those who have studied the metallurgy will understand that it promotes a uniform crane size, indium. That's the role of indium. So these were the constituents of gold alloys. You are supposed to know the constituents, their role, at the most their percentages, and that too for the purpose of the vivas. Now, this I think is a must know. That was desirable to know. This is a must know. You need to know all these four types of alloys. This is according to the Bureau of Standards 1927 and American Dental Association specification number 5. Type 1, type 2, type 3 and type 4. There are 4 types of cast gold alloys. Type 1, 2, 3 and 4. Type 1 is soft, type 2 is medium, type 3 is hard and type 4 is extra hard cast gold alloys. Now if you see type 1 to 4, the hardness is increasing. So hardness has to increase, gold content has to reduce. So type 1 is soft, having maximum gold content, and type 4 is extra hard, having least amount of gold content. So as you go on from type 1 to type 4, content of the gold reduces and other elements keep on increasing. Now we go to individual type of alloy. Soft alloys. It is characterized by low surface hardness and proportional limit, indicating that the alloys can be adapted rapidly to the cavity walls or they can be burnished. We're going to talk a little bit detail about type 1 soft alloy, because the restorations which you are working for in the preclinics will be fabricated by type 1 only, because you are fabricating a small restoration. All small restorations are, and those who are not meant for high stress bearing areas, are fabricated using soft alloys, type 1 alloys. So if a viva question comes to you, what type of alloy will be used to make a restoration with this cavity preparation, your answer should go like type 1 alloy, which is soft alloy, has more gold content and it is easily burnishable margin. What is a burnishable margin? Coming to it in a minute. Okay, let's get back to type 1 first. What is meant by burnished margin? As all of us know that we have continuously worked for the preparation of cavities for amalgam restorations. What we were taught and what we executed and practiced in the preclinics was we made butt joints in the cavity preparation. Butt joint means a 90-degree joint, because in amalgam a 90-degree joint is the strongest joint possible. But for all inlay purposes, your joint has to be 25 to 40 degree metal margin. 25 to 40 degree metal margin. So your amalgam goes straight 90 degree, but your preparations go slightly like a feather. A thin edge should go and meet the cavo surface margin. Why so? Because after seating of the casting inside the cavity, we take a burnisher and these feathers are actually burnished. So we use ductility of the metal to draw these cast gold alloys along the margins of the tooth to minimize the space or leakage area in between the cast gold alloy and the enamel margin. So what we need there, the enamel margin has to be, in an amalgam restoration, we plan 90 degree. Here it is planned beyond 120 degree, 160 degree, and 35 to 40 degree metal margin. 30 to 45 degree metal margin is a desirable margin for burnishing of the cast gold alloy onto the enamel surface. How it is done will be taught to you in some time. We're coming to it. So what is fabricated from type 1 alloys is a small inlay like this or a smaller onlay which is present into an area which does not have very high masticatory stress. It's a soft alloy. Type 2 is a medium alloy. Medium inlay gold alloys are harder and are not easily distorted by force of mastication as type 1. Though they are softer than the other hard and extra hard, they are definitely harder than the soft alloys. So they cannot easily be distorted. So what is fabricated out of them? Onlays and crowns. So they can bear masticatory forces to a certain extent. So type 2 alloys are used for fabrication of such restoration. Now come type 3 alloys. Type 3 alloys are harder alloys. High percentage of copper are added into it, platinum and palladium also. See, all these three impart a lot of hardness to these alloys and they can be used to make bridges in stress bearing areas. So they are used to make bridges or crown which are having a very high occlusal load. Okay, so these are type 3. Come to type 4 is extra hard. Addition of platinum and palladium makes class 4 type of alloys extra hard. So what we make out of them is bases for removable partial dentures. See, removable partial denture base require a lot of strength. Biocompatibility is good, tarnish and corrosion resistance is good in the alloy, but the problem with the gold was again tarnish and corrosion. So we use gold alloy here to make this so that forces coming on one side to another side are balanced well and you can have a nice denture base lasting for a longer time. So type 4 alloy is used for base, partial denture frameworks. There are a few other types of gold alloys which all of you should only know the name of. You need not go into the much of details of this. Some people call them as yellow gold, white gold, high copper alloys, pro gold, Japanese gold. These are some names. These are different products which are very famous with their brand names or the companies which propagated their sales. Because as the gold cost kept on increasing, people came out with different options which used to look like gold. Okay, and as the old saying goes, everything glitters is not the gold. So most of them which are available in the market today are having 0% gold. Japanese gold, pro gold, high copper alloy. So they are minimal or no gold into them.